Hello, this is Todd Luck, and I got a generous helping of Pulp He-Man for you. This is a review of Masters of the Universe Masterverse Issue 3 from Dark Horse Comics. This is the third in a 4-issue miniseries. It's out right now in your local comic shops. You can get it as a digital comic on Comixology/Amazon, and of course, eventually there will be a trade paperback collecting all 4 issues. So let's start with the cover, and this is a first for this particular miniseries because all of these characters in the form that we're looking at them in actually appear in this issue. I know that is a crazy idea in a modern comic that the cover actually reflects the interiors, but it actually does. And all of these characters look freaking awesome. I love the composition here. Everybody looks awesome, very well rendered. Love the poses. And I love how He-Man's just kind of chilling with his sword here, and while Teela's ready to go Arnold Schwarzenegger on your ass. It's just a really cool cover. All right, as I've said before, this is an anthology series, and so like all modern anthologies, for some reason, it has a framing sequence, which in this case is the Sorceress and Zodak having a, shall we say, argument over if He-Man can be trusted to be the most powerful man in the universe, and Sorceress is showing him different realities where He-Man turned out to be a good guy, even though he had all that power. And so each issue gives us 2 stories, and the first one here has Teela, or at least this version of Teela, and she's got her unicorn from the early mini comics, and she is this warrior goddess driven by the voices of her ancestors, wandering around this primitive world, and she sees this tribe who is attacking Beastmen, who is this shaman of the beast people. And so this story has a very pulp feel to it. It definitely has a kind of a Robert E. Howard feel to it, or like Edgar Rice Burroughs' Paloustar, you know, these primitive warriors in this savage land. And it's interesting. It's a pretty cool concept here. I just wish it was longer. I mean, the story ends where I wish it would have began. And the art style here is not my favorite, but it does get the job done. And by the way, Beastman's appearance in this story is based on his New Eternia figure in the Masterverse toy line, and his backstory in this comic is actually based on the bio on the back of that figure. Now, we don't know if Teela has any relationship to the New Eternia toys because she hasn't had a figure yet, so we don't know if this is going to be her design or not. Of course, Teela's appearance is based on her appearance in the old DC comics. This is the outfit she had in the very first issue of the Masters of the Universe miniseries that DC Comics put out in the 1980s. That look actually did have a figure in the Masters of the Universe Classics line. And worth noting is that this does appear to be a story in a different reality than the previous issue's New Eternia story. So it appears that they're basically just taking, you know, different characters and doing, you know, kind of alternate takes on their New Eternia bios. And that is true of the second story in the issue, which I like the artwork here. And this is definitely kind of a different Masters of the Universe story. At first, when you read the synopsis for it or read the beginning of it, it almost seems like a comedy because it starts out with this He-Man who is Adam Randor's son, who's been banished from his tribe, and he just goes around with his friends having drunken adventures. So you think like, well, it seems like a comedy, right? But it takes a very serious turn. And I got to tell you, I love this. This also has a real Robert E. Howard feel to it and is an absolute badass origin for a barbarian He-Man. He-Man and Skeletor do seem to be based on the designs and bios in the New Eternia figures, and the rest of the characters in here do not. But that's fine. This is just a really, really cool story, and again, a really cool origin for barbarian He-Man. So yes, this continues to be a very enjoyable series. Tim Seeley, the writer, just has a great grasp on Masters of the Universe. He did a great job with Masters of the Multiverse, and he continues that here. I'd love to see him get his hands on a regular series with a regular version of these characters. And I am absolutely looking forward to next issue. It's going to have the CGI version of He-Man in the Masters Universe from the recent Netflix series, and it will also have Multi-Beast in there. And if you know Masters Universe, you know that is a reference to the Horde villain Modulok, and I love me some Modulok, so definitely looking forward to the final issue of this miniseries. So that's all my thoughts on this wonderful comic. Like and subscribe for more videos, and until next time, good journey.